So nice to be with all of you, and thank you for inviting me to speak about my book, Rudeness Rehab, Reclaiming Civility in the Workplace and Your Home Space. Who do you want to be? What's really important? My book is an invitation to you to consider these questions. I'll tell you more in a few minutes. Our country and countries around the world continue to heal from the after effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. But now another, more insidious, but equally infectious and poisonous pandemic is sweeping nations worldwide. And that is the pandemic of rudeness and incivility. One author in Australia has created a new pseudo-diagnosis that I imagine him using against friends and family by saying, aha, that is your PCRS acting up, post-COVID rudeness syndrome. Now, COVID-19 didn't create rudeness and incivility. It did seem to supercharge it in the isolation, but it's something that's been with humanity since the beginning of time. The impact of rudeness in the workplace has been more in the spotlight in the last 10 to 15 years, with the work of Dr. Christine Porath and other researchers who have demonstrated quite clearly that even small acts of incivility in the workplace, such as leaving dishes chronically for your colleagues to wash, over time contributes to higher levels of employee stress, which, if poorly managed, can lead employees to experience toxic work cultures, which then lead them to be demotivated, feel disconnected, and see a decline in their productivity, which ultimately leads the business to experience a reduction in profitability. So leaders are starting to take notice. I first became aware of the powerful impact of rudeness and incivility many years ago when I started my master's in counseling psychology program at Tufts University, toting a Sigmund Freud lunchbox. I actually own a Sigmund Freud lunchbox, but that's for another day. Early in the program, I would meet someone who would change the trajectory of my career forever. His name was Rudee. Now, for any of you out there screaming at the screen that, oh, I know who you mean, John. You mean that famous Notre Dame walk-on football player. Not that Rudee. This Rudee spelled his name R-U-D-E-E. And Rudee was well named because you see, when Rudee got stressed, frustrated, or especially when he felt as if he or others he cared about were experiencing injustice, Rudee could become argumentative, condescending, even dismissive. However, over time, with consultation, with his own therapy, and with the development of a strong mindfulness practice, Rudee was able to significantly reduce the impacts of these behaviors on himself and on those he cared about. Treatment was a real success, and I've never forgotten the case of Rudee because, you see, Rudee was me. Now, for any of you out there thinking, dude, how out of control were you? Do you have a rap sheet? It wasn't that dramatic. But I did come to recognize the powerful negative impact that stress would have on me and the problematic behaviors that would emerge. So that awareness, along with my development of skills as a clinician, has allowed me to go on to have a more than 30-year career in the mental health field, helping hundreds of clients manage their internal Rudee to see improvements in the workplace and their home space. One aspect of mindfulness I will highlight today has to do with the important distinction between feeling as if you are right and needing to prove to others that you are, versus doing what's effective. And how often in relationships, the latter is the more effective choice. So in closing, I want to go back to the two questions we started with, because those are questions I asked myself I encourage my clients to ask themselves. And now I invite you to do the same. Before you get out of bed in the morning and your feet hit the floor, ask yourself, who do you want to be? What's really important? Because how you answer those questions as you go through the rest of the day makes all the difference. Thank you very much.